This is Leaf Life. All things cannabis for all people. Now, Ricker and the Bearded Lorax.
We publish a free magazine called The Leaf that is available in print in 13 states and counting at your local cannabis retailer and also available online at leafmagazines.com. I'm Mike Ricker, your host of Leaf Life, proudly with my co-host and beloved bestie, Wes Abney, also known as the Bearded Lorax.
I speak for the trees.
And of course, there's AJOG.
Hola, aloha OGs.
And Mary J. White.
The smoking female.
Welcome to the second half of this Leaf Life show called God and Cannabis. In just a moment, we'll talk about how cannabis is considered by many to be the sappy sacrament. And we'll spin AJ's wheel to see what products Pastor Victor Calderon, who's a CANNAPASTOR with a degree in psychology, and he's a cannabis instructor at Seattle Central College at the Academy of Cannabis Science, along with Mary J. White. This show's Greg the Guinea Pig is going to be trying next. But first, it's time for Where in the World?
Y ahora es hora de las noticias de cannabis.
It's time for cannabis news from around the world.
Mary J. White reporting live.
Yes, sir. This just in. Men. I love men. You're my favorite opposite sex.
Oh, thank
But
you.
now we have to talk about your sperms. Okay?
Oh my.
Because
They're there.
men who have smoked cannabis
Yes.
at some point in their life had significantly higher concentrations of sperm when compared to men who have never smoked marijuana.
Stoned sperm, by the way.
Yeah, but still, they get there. They just go slower.
Yeah.
But this is according to some new research, okay? These unexpected findings highlight how little we know about the reproduction health effects of marijuana and, in fact, the health effects of marijuana in general, said Jorge Chavarro. Now, this is Jorge hangs out at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. This is at the fertility clinic at Massachusetts General Hospital. Wow. And they're finding out that you guys have extra sperms.
Hot diggity dog.
Wow. I always thought it was the opposite.
But
Yeah, they told us in DARE that cannabis caused
right.
testicular cancer.
Yeah, that's wrong.
And
What is more scary to a young boy?
God, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you
if
know
you
what?
masturbated, you would go blind.
And look, you can
And your
all
hair
see.
turns gray.
So
Is that why you wear glasses there?
anyway, that's my report. Thank you very
Imagine
Very
that.
interesting.
Where was that again?
much. That was out of Harvard.
I see.
I'll be dad. Well, the highest learning institution in America.
Yeah. Learning all about the sperms. Oh, I get it.
Thank you, Mary J. White. Now,
Certainly.
AJ, spin that wheel and see what's in AJ's stash.
All right. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay, so we have a solventless, single-sourced live rosin vape pen.
Cool.
Galactic Mintz is what you'll be
Oh, so good,
hitting
bro.
today.
Oh,
and this
my-
is on the dab ski, so you just go ahead and pull from the back end
I
there.
don't have to hold nothing else.
Just a little spaceship contraption.
Isn't that cool?
And there he goes.
Did you get? Oh, look at
that. It hits every time. Nice big clouds.
This is much better than that one.
That was a very scientific hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got glasses. He's got a little
A better-
derby hat on. Or what's that? The newsboy
Yummy.
hat.
Nice.
Yes,
Right on.
newsboy.
Yeah, look at it. It's nice and gold and clear, you guys.
From the dab ski.
Concentrate.
Yummy.
Some
I'm
good-looking
seeing
product.
the face of
Good-looking
Jesus
product.
in the smoke.
Oh.
Yeah, see that?
Yeah. When you
Jesus.
see the Virgin Mary in your buttered toast, then you
Jesus
know you're
is
going to heaven.
Jesus is sexy.
Oh, no, he's
I really do
Get
think.
that.
Well, can I just say
Quite lovely.
that I believe
Yes, sir.
that God is of feminine energy. And if God was a sex, gender, it would be a woman. That's my belief. Now, I know in the Bible it says
Say that.
male, and it's a male world that we live in and everything. But if you think about it, and I'm not trying to contradict your beliefs or
Not
anything.
at all.
Women are the givers of life.
Yes.
And, right, AJ?
Yes. Say
And
that, Ricker.
why would they not be the ones who gave life to everything?
Check this out.
No doubt.
My perspective is that I believe God is a male because when I've been a male, okay, and it's pretty much been for the most part, I can connect with my sensitive side, which is my
Feminine nature.
I can call it a mangina if you want to call it. That's my
Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever I want to call it. Yeah, whatever you makes you. Okay.
We've already got a man purse or a merce. So
but when I
maybe
tap,
a vagina.
Sure, yeah.
but when I tap into my masculinity and my sensitive side, now that I have been a father, having been able to create a child with a woman, I believe the God that I serve used a female because she would better take care of what would she carry. Because we have men, we're too rough. We would be bumping stuff and hitting, and it would be a miscarriage. You know what I mean?
You couldn't survive a birth.
Exactly. So to me, it's like, yeah. And when you do that, and when you see that, when I saw my wife give birth, there's like this joy, this thing that like, together we did this.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so.
Well, I think at the end of the day, we can agree that it doesn't matter what gender you give to God. It is a universal source of energy. And the way people relate to cannabis, it is a religion in and of itself, right? I treat cannabis as a religion. And cannabis, the plant itself,
it's more like ritual.
Is the sappy sacrament. Sure, call it a ritual, whatever.
More like ritual.
It's a conduit, like I said in the beginning, to higher spirituality. So we can sit here as humans and try to define everything and put everything into terms of understanding so that we can comprehend it. But at the end of the day, God, in my opinion, is not something that you comprehend. Right. It's something that just is you. It is.
That you experience.
We're experiencing it now.
Why don't we let the Cannapastor talk about
I can have an opinion. Shit, Wes.
No,
but I'm just making a point. I'm doing a radio show. Please, Victor.
No, and that's good. You can have your opinion. And that's good. I think that's good. I just in what I've embraced in my loneliness, in my despair, where nobody's been there. When everybody had given up on me, when I was going through a blood transfusion, I had 5 blood transfusions followed out by chemo. Nobody was there for me to go through that hell, and I experienced that prison, that I read in the Bible with Paul and Silas, or that Job experience where, I had to put my faith in something I told myself, though he slayed me, you can say he is anything, but to me, it's like God allowed me to go through this, trusted me enough to have an experience with my body most people give up in, and to say, what would you put your trust in? Will you put it on the pharmaceuticals, or will you put it in all the energy that you have put growing up in prayer and trusting something higher than you that I created for you?
Yeah.
So I had to look at things like that, and people are going to experience the energy of God wherever God is going to meet them, because he's a gentleman to me. He can be a gentle lady, a gentle man. He can be a lady, whatever, but he'll meet you where you're at. And he met me in my deepest place, and he's allowed me to be, an educator of cannabis through my own personal experience, because I did all the other stuff. And even though my own family was against what I was going to do with cannabis, they got to see the healing side of it, because I stayed persistent in something I believed in, just like I believed in God through it all.
Yeah, say that.
It's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
That's wonderful.
I think a lot of us share similar, kind of depth with the family part, I think Wes and I both dealt with that kind of issue with our family not really accepting the path.
Oh, yeah.
When we first started with cannabis, And
that level of healing, too. I can relate to, everyone's given up, you're going to fucking die. And you don't. Yeah. Right?
Wow.
And it's
powerful.
Well, in my current marriage with my wife, she's been a big supporter. When I got diagnosed with leukemia the second time in 2015, she was there, and she got, like, at first she was kind of skeptical as to whether cannabis really helped me. Mm-hmm. But then I said, God, do whatever you have to do so that you can test our marriage and test our situation. And I had my second episode of leukemia, and she was there to nurture me, and she's like, do you need this? Do you need your cannabis? What do you need me to make? Whatever. And as soon as I could do all of that, she had everything ready for me.
What a loving partner.
You know what I mean? She believed that. So now she's like, man, I've seen what it's done for him. So she's like my biggest advocate for it. And people will say, if I can talk to your wife as to how it's helped you, that would really open up, because she's had to be learned on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have those conversations
Right.
Yeah.
within the religious communities and share how cannabis is helping people. You know, I would always feel somewhat frustrated at church when they would, you know, send out a prayer call at the beginning and say, you know, so-and-so is fighting cancer. And it's like, let's pray for them, and which is so important. And the power of prayer is real, and the power of thought is real. But I always wanted to be able to go to them and be like, hey, have you thought about RSO or thought about cannabis?
Take action.
No
But
doubt,
then I'd be like, my kids are here.
Right.
What if the church is like, oh, he's, you know, one of them? Because I had an experience like that where I was judged for cannabis use.
yeah.
And so I think that we have to have those conversations and to have someone who was a pastor and led a congregation.
No doubt.
It's so important to share your story. And it's an honor to have you on here because we need the people of trust to share those words.
I have
Yes,
pastors
agreed.
who have seen me and better myself through the years and fight it and whatnot. And now they have sent some of their members to me and say, you know, I'm going to give you somebody's number. He's experienced this. He can navigate you and see. But people don't understand that it's not always cannabis. Sometimes there's other cannabinoids that we can introduce them slowly to. And if that doesn't help, then it's like everything else. The doctor's going to prescribe an aspirin or Advil or hydrocodone or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so there's different levels to this natural plant. So we want to introduce them, you know, and meet them where they're at, and you know,
And prescribe CBG, CBN, CBD,
Absolutely.
or THC as well. You know, I wonder,
Get more specific.
what is the Pope's position on cannabis? Pope Benedict.
What does the Pope
Oh,
have
yeah.
to say?
Let's find out.
Yeah, let's
Call him. You gotta
Call him up. Let's go.
introduce
Let's call
yourself
him
from
up.
West.
The Pope Mobile.
The
You know,
Pope
I don't
Mobile.
hotbox that thing.
I don't think that any person in a religion, leader, pastor should ever have a say so in how somebody takes care of their wellness.
But they do.
Often. Some of them do. I've had the experience to have to educate some people now, and even the church that I attend currently, the pastor said, "I'm just glad you're alive."
Yeah.
Well, the Bible talks a lot about alcohol.
Yeah,
The Christian Bible, and you know, for Islam, alcohol is forbidden.
yeah,
You know, and it's clear that abuse of drugs and alcohol is not something that's condoned.
Right.
You know, by just about any religion or culture.
Yeah.
So it's how do you convince someone that there's a difference between, you know, being a binge drinker and using cannabis in the morning?
Right.
You know, and I've always thought, like, how hard would it be to be with, like, have a life partner or people in your life who think that having a morning dab is the same as like having a morning Jack and Coke.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very different things. But if you're on the outside,
It's not what
it's
it looks
like,
like.
well,
yeah.
you need your heroin to wake
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It does look like that. It's got a
Yeah.
negative connotation for sure.
So we have to reframe that conversation. And then, you know, sacrament, I don't think cannabis does actually make people necessarily connect to a higher plane. I think cannabis can dumb you down. I've seen it a lot. I think cannabis is a tool that can bring you up or bring you down. We had a wellness show where we talked about how cannabis can stimulate nerves
Yep.
or depress nerves.
Right.
Yeah.
The same thing. So I think it doesn't automatically make you spiritual. Neither does taking mushrooms.
Yeah,
I will
that's
say
true.
though, you guys, in the book, the Hash E-Sheeter, there's a lot of stories about how if it's taken in high enough concentration, you're gonna have an out of body spiritual type of experience, like specific,
Intentional.
intentional. Like so, there's definitely cannabis was used as sacrament, you know, by many tribal nations, and like. But it was like very high concentration. It was an intentional dose, and like it was considered an out of body experience. So they would say that you entered the realm of the dead, you know, because the body would just go comatose for a while. And when the person came back, they'd have all of these like visuals and stories to tell.
a lot with some of the other stuff that people do.
Well,
They
sure.
have that, you know.
The entheogenic medicines, the things made from plants, are almost always originally medicinal. You know, whether it's peyote or mescaline or cannabis or whatever, it was to become larger. Go out of yourself.
Ayahuasca, DMT.
Yeah.
And mushrooms.
I just went actually to Mexico for some ceremony called Temazcal. And we went into this clay hut that was like very low to the ground with a little madrecita, like curandera. It was an indigenous practice. And it was essentially like sweat lodge, but with different herbs and different spices. And they blew tobacco, like a special type of tobacco up our nostrils. It like opened up the pineal gland. You could see all these different colors. And then we were in there for an hour, you guys. It was intense.
Is that why your skin looks so good?
Yes, I got some color.
Were you naked?
it was you had to overcome claustrophobia. It was completely dark, you know. It was like
She
it was
didn't
pretty
answer.
intense. Excuse me. Pretty intense indeed.
And Johns Hopkins has reported that people who have psychedelic experiences, whether they're atheists or believers come out of psychedelic experiences believing in a higher power.
Yeah.
And so there is a connection to God or your higher power and these entheogenic plants and medicines, including cannabis. And if you use it as a tool intentionally, then it can be 100% part of your prayer path or your meditation path or your pursuit of a higher power. Or you can be stoned as fuck on the couch eating Cheetos. It's not,
Exactly.
but you got to put the work in.
Right.
All right, Victor, hey, now it's time for you to play Who Said What?
All right.
Now, just to clarify.
What? Who said that?
Let's find out.
What? Who said that?
Who said what?
That's what who said.
Dig it, bro. I say, okay, so the answer to none of these is God.
All right.
Just so you know.
All
So,
right.
or hell.
All right.
that
Good.
too.
Even better.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a quote, and you have to tell me which celebrity said it.
Perfect.
The celebrities are Frank Zappa, Albert Einstein, and Weird Al Yankovic.
Good luck.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, here we go. Number one. Who said this? Two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not sure about the universe. Frank Zappa, Albert Einstein, or Weird Al?
I would think it was something that Weird Al would say.
That's incorrect.
No, but
He didn't put his answer
but I
yet.
think Zappa would be the one that
You're
said that.
incorrect.
Oh, I had
my
a feeling
God.
Albert Einstein.
Einstein,
Yeah.
It was Einstein.
I had a feeling it was Einstein.
That's
I was
deep.
thinking that sounds like an Einstein
Wow.
All right, number two.
quilliclism.
I never set out to be weird.
brother.
It was other people who called me weird. Frank
This is a
Zappa,
trick
Albert
question.
Einstein, or Weird Al Yankovic?
It's not Weird Al.
Oh, thanks, Wes.
He's fucking with you.
Thanks. Just
I didn't read it.
ruin the fucking show.
What
man.
is it? What is it? See? 'Cause I'm going for Zappa on that one.
Wes, just leave the room, dude.
Wes, see, Wes?
All right.
We don't
Check
even
Wes.
know.
All right.
We
It's
don't
Albert
even know.
Einstein. No.
Einstein.
That was Einstein again.
No,
Again?
it
No,
wasn't.
what? It
I
was
never
Zappa.
set out to be weird. It was other people who called me weird.
Other people. Zappo, bro.
You got it, buddy.
Yeah, see?
There you go.
Yeah, see?
With a
That's
little
good.
help from your friend next to me. He's not my friend anymore.
No, I can tell.
All right, number three. Here we go.
Let's do this.
Life is similar to a mop. You have to think about it.
Well, that's Weird Al. Weird Al, man. See?
Okay,
Life is
yeah.
similar.
Did you guys know the word weird means supernatural?
Really?
People were calling me weird so much I had to look it up one day, and it means supernatural. So I owned
You
it
were-
after that.
Oh, man.
I'm like,
That's-
say that.
Keep saying that. You're a blessing in
Supernatural.
disguise.
Victor. I will
Yes,
take
sir.
that.
Where can we find you on social media, brother?
You can find me on CANNAPASTOR.
CANNAPASTOR?
Just
At
CANNAPASTOR.
CANNAPASTOR.
At CANNAPASTOR.
I'm adding it right now.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming here from Yakima, Washington to be on the Leaf Life podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
Hey, Wes, next week, weed and wellness.
Oh, good.
Those two go hand in hand.
They do indeed.
Download this and all Leaf Life episodes at leafmagazines.com. And please subscribe on YouTube at Leaf Life Podcast V2. Now get ready for another episode of Stony Baloney, which is also available at leafmagazines.com. And please be kind to animals.
Your hosts for Leaf Life are Mike Ricker and Wes Abney. Leaf Life is produced by Mike Daly. Some of the music heard is provided by purple-planet.com. Every bit of cannabis you use is female, so please respect the ladies. Leaf Life is brought to you by Leaf Nation, featuring Alaska Leaf, Oregon Leaf, Northwest Leaf, Maryland Leaf, Amsterdam Leaf, and California Leaf. On the shelf now in your local retailer. Now, please stay tuned for this week's edition of Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Self-imposed sobriety. A lot of people need to dry out, and they know it. So getting sober is an annual challenge some of my friends will undertake for around 30 days, usually the same month every year. It's not like they enjoy this exile, but in their mind, abstinence is a necessary evil that is going to miraculously stave off an early grave. And rehab. We all know that the body can't reverse liver and heart damage in the matter of 1 month, but that's okay. The effort is nonetheless recognized. And it sure makes for a delicious bender for said participant when the 30 days ends and Old Faithful releases some steam. This temporary lifestyle change is never easy, and they will struggle to find ways to occupy their attention. Over coffee and fast food, these anxious souls will squirm uncomfortably while plotting their return, romanticizing their immersion into the waterfall of temptation when that clock finally hits 12:01 a.m. on the first day of the new month. So, to see the discipline through, they must maximize these efforts while minimizing the FOMO. And that means choosing the surest span with the least amount of opportunity to relapse during this annoying stint. Therefore, Super Bowl Sunday will never be part of the equation. Also, St. Patrick's Day, and their birthday, and Cinco de Drinko. Spring is no time to get sober. There's too much excitement and optimism. And summer is completely out of the question. November is a strong candidate, but there's that 4-day holiday of foul, family, and football that begs for self-medication. So January makes the most sense. They say using cannabis disqualifies you from being sober because it's a mind-altering substance. I should know. I've been green sober for 38 days. Not consecutively, of course.
Stony Baloney. Some of the wardrobe, including Ricker and Wes's sick lids, is provided by Grassroots California. Check out the dopeness at grassrootscalifornia.com.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risks associated with consumption of this product. For use by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.